Mrs. Lovett?
Mrs. Lovetts, sir.
3 pie makers go in, but only 1 will come out. Like a 19th century version of Chopped, but instead of Ted Allen, you're stuck with a flamboyant con man and a funny mustache. It's time for a battle of the Lovetts. Bonham Carter versus Lansbury versus LuPone. The internet battle that's practically guaranteed to piss off at least 2/3 of my viewing audience. But hey, you know what they say. If you want to bake a pie, you're gonna have to slice a few throats.
Swing your razor wide, Sweeney, hold it to the sky. Sweeney pulls the blood of those who are alive.
What the hell is happening?
You're watching musical theater MASH.
Disclaimers first. Disclaimer number 1, this video is already a big disservice to the innumerable wonderful women who have played this marvelous role, including, but not limited to, Sheila Hancock, Julia McKenzie, Imelda Staunton, Christine Baranski, Judy Kay, and Emma Thompson. All fantastic ladies with stunning performances that I'm not going to talk about at all. Disclaimer number 2, we will never know what went into every choice made in these productions. Individual performances are influenced by an endless number of factors. Directors' decisions, co-stars' acting choices, audience responses, and so on. We will never know all the details that brought a performance to stage or screen. Instead, we're left with wild assumptions. So, get ready for some wild assumptions. Disclaimer number 3, these are all fantastic actresses, and I love them. Really. Acting is hard and they make it look effortless. They are all winners in my book. Except for the losers, of course. Alright, maybe that'll quell some of the vitriol in the comments section. Oh, who am I kidding? Whatever. Let's go. We start with the text. Sondheim and Wheeler's script is surprisingly Spartan on explicit character descriptions. It only gives us Mrs. Lovett, a vigorous, slatternly woman in her 40s, is flicking flies off the trays of pies with a dirty rag as she sings or hums. Sondheim delves a little deeper into the descriptive waters in his Finishing the Hat. Mrs. Lovett is not only a chatterbox, she is a glitteringly disorganized one. She is cheery one moment, complaining the next, and can instantaneously alternate her attention between pie and customer. Her garrulousness causes her to seem irritating, but harmless. So we've got this list of author-approved character traits. Vigorous, dirty, chatterbox, and disorganized. Certainly a list of adjectives is not a good performance make, but it's definitely a start. And really, I'd say all 3 of our actresses fit this bill already. Lansbury originated the role, so chances are some of these descriptors are based on her interpretation. She's certainly the disorganized chatterbox, but maybe a little too showy at times. Sometimes she's not just performing to the back of the house, she's singing to the people down the block. LuPone is perhaps more calculated in her approach. Where Lansbury sometimes seems villainous by accident or happenstance, LuPone always has those gears spinning in the back of her mind. This may be somewhat antithetical to Sondheim's description, but it sure does make for an intriguing and creepy portrayal. Bonham Carter's Lovett sometimes couldn't care less about what's going on around her. Tim Burton's movie is a little more demure than the stage productions, and Bonham Carter embodies that with an eye roll reminiscent of a Hot Topic cashier. Sometimes it works. It certainly informs her desire to move away from Fleet Street. Sometimes it just seems like she wishes she was in a different movie. Let's talk music next. Mrs. Lovett's first song is The Worst Pies in London. Now, this is a hard song. It changes meter 16 times, it changes keys 4 times, and it changes tempo more times than Liza Minnelli on a bender. All 3 performances are in different keys, each catered to the performer's vocal range. Now, I want to look at a complex phrase near the beginning of the song. In this, we're looking for Mrs. Lovett's disorganized chatterboxedness. How well does she bounce back and forth between her brain trains without losing the audience? We start with Lansbury. There's some great object acting going on here. Watch how she uses the pie in her hand to guide her through her thought process.
All I meant is that I haven't seen a customer for weeks. Did you come in for a pie, sir? Do forgive me if me head's a little vague. What is that? But you think we have the plague? From the way the people keep avoiding, now you don't. Heaven as I try, sir. But there's no one comes in even to inhale. Right you are, sir. Would you like a drop of ale?
There's like 30 choices happening in just the same number of measures. Certainly, it's a little choppy, but I think that kind of adds to the delight of it all. Next, we've got Bonham Carter. Really, I wish she'd just smile at least once. She's got this preoccupied, I left something in the oven air about her, which, well, that really doesn't make sense. I mean, what's keeping her busy if she hasn't seen a customer for weeks? Now, there's no ambiguity of choice here, but there's not a lot of solid choice either. I'm also not a fan of her vocal choice on the transition to "no you don't" before splatting the bug. It breaks up the musical phrase, and it really makes us miss that joke. Last up is LuPone. Watch how she sells her upcoming action with the words she's currently singing.
I haven't seen a customer for weeks. Did you come here for a pie, sir? It didn't give me if they had the little lady. What is that? But you think we have the plague? From the way that people keep avoiding, no you don't. Heaven doesn't try, sir. But there's no one comes in even to inhale. Right you as a rigid like a drop of ale.
Now in this phrase, I think LuPone sells the chatterbox most of all. Her mind goes in two different ways at once and her mouth gets stuck in the middle. In fact, her "no you don't" is the exact opposite of Bonham Carter's. LuPone takes no pauses in the phrase musically. It might as well be the same sentence, but her facial expressions and the implied intent lead the audience a little better on than either Lansbury's or Bonham Carter's do. Fast forward most of an act and you'll land on "A Little Priest." Now, I've always found the first few lines leading into "A Little Priest" so stylistically intriguing. We've just come out of Todd's Epiphany, a cacophonous musical power soliloquy that Sondheim infamously wanted to end without applause. Somehow, we've got to transition from that into the uproarious vaudevillian routine that is "A Little Priest." Also, and if you'll pardon the pun, this song really is the meat of the Sweeney Todd myth. I mean, he bakes people into pies. That's what this song is about, so it's important to get that right. Really, what I'm saying is, there's a lot riding on this intro, so let's take a look at it. Lansbury gets her idea out almost all at once. When the lightbulb chord hits, and during the pause afterwards, it all just smacks her at once. What follows is her leading Todd and the audience into her plan.
Suppose he's got any relatives gonna come poking around looking for him. Well, you know me, bright ideas just pop into my head and I keep thinking, seems a downright shame.
Shame.
Seems an awful waste. Such a nice plum frame, what's his name has, nor it can't be traced. Business needs a lift, debts to be erased. Think of it as thrift, as a gift, if you get my drift. Now, seems an awful waste. I mean, with the price of meat, what it is, when you get it, if you get it. Good, you got it?
Certainly very well done, but it's all kind of one note. Specifically, her has doesn't really sell that joke. We do see her mental journey, but it's not a journey of creating this plan. It's a journey of telling Todd about this plan, and again, it's all a little big and cartoony. Now, Bonham Carter's performance, on the other hand, is facilitated by the subtle art that is screen acting. A little too subtle, perhaps? Let's take a look.
Don't suppose he's got any relatives gonna come poking around looking for him.
Seems a downright shame.
Shame.
Seems an awful waste. Such a nice plump frame. What's his name? Has, nor he can't be traced. Business needs a lift, debts to be erased. Think of it as thrift, as a gift, if you get my drift. Seems an awful Good it is when you get it, if you get it. Good you got it.
Now, I don't know how to even get such granular control over my eyebrows. She's definitely got that going for her. And she certainly does sell the has had has joke better than Lansbury. Different from Lansbury, we're seeing the plan pieced together in Mrs. Lovett's mind. It isn't until, With the Price of Meat, where she has figured it all out and she's trying to tell Todd. This does have the side effect of making it seem like she's talking to herself and not to Todd for most of this section. And of course, smile, Helena. Just smile. Now, Patti LuPone, master of the in-between. Watch her figure out each phrase as it happens, planning the plan with every single word.
Well, you know me, right like this, just pop into my head. But I keep thinking. Seems a downright shame. Seems an awful waste. Such a nice plot. Greg, what's his name, has. No, it can't be traced. Business needs a lift. Gets to be erased. Think of it as free. Does it get if you get my drift? No? Seems an awful waste. With the price of meat, what it is, when you get it, if you get it, good you got it.
Certainly she's got the humor down too. What I love most of all is her kind of hybrid tactic behind each phrase. She's figuring out her plan on her own, but also trying to convince Todd as she goes. Where Lansbury's inner monologue was, oh, you haven't got it yet, let me rephrase. And Bonham Carter's inner monologue is, man, it's a shame to waste meat. Wait, he is meat. Wait, we could use him as meat. LuPone's inner monologue is, it's this delightful combination of both of those. Act 2, By the Sea. Arguably, this is Mrs. Lovett's most important song. Nearly everything she does in the show, she does for one of two reasons. Either she does it because she wants to get out of her working class situation, or she does it because she's semi-secretly in love with Sweeney Todd. This song is about both of those things. It's the most overt, fleshed out character development we get from her in the whole show. We're gonna look at the intro to this song because really it's the most comparable between all three, and I'm gonna be upfront with you. I don't like Lansbury's version. It's too fast. It's all the same, and it seems like we're just trying to get it out of the way so we can get on to the rest of the song.
Oh, Mr. Todd, I'm so happy. I could eat you up, I really could. You know what I'd like to do, Mr. Todd? What I dream, if the business is good, where I'd really like to go in a year or so. Don't you want to know?
Of course.
Do you really want to know?
Yes, I do.
Problem is, the rest of the song is all kind of like that. Performative, over the top, and neither about convincing Todd to fall in love, nor about fantasizing about a life away from Fleet Street. If it's not about either of those things, then why bother with the song? It's a lost opportunity. Bonham Carter's is better. She's got this tactic of trying to distract Todd from his preoccupation with killing the judge, and, for once, she smiles.
Oh, Mr. Todd, I'm so happy. I could eat you up, I really could. You know what I'd like to do, Mr. Todd? What I dream, if the business stays as good, where I'd really like to go in a year or so. Don't you want to know?
Of course.
Do you really want to know?
Yes, I do.
Better. There's a tactic, we're moving somewhere, but it still seems like we're just trying to get through the intro as fast as possible, which seems semi-respectable for just a small intro until you see an alternative.
Mr. Todd, I'm so happy. I could eat you up. I really could. But I dream if the business stays as good, where I really like to go in a year or so. Do you want to know? Yes. Do you really want to know?
Yes, I do.
first, I think she's got the musical phrasing down pat, and then there's this bizarre warmth about the thing. There's that discovery as she sings going on. It's like the painting in her head is materializing, and we get to see that. Plus, we sneak a joke in, a morbid joke about eating people that totally plays into Mrs. Lovett's sense of humor. Okay, now what? So I declare a winner, right? How do they do that in reality shows? Cue the dramatic music. Angela Lansbury. Your Mrs. Lovett is both animated and scatterbrained, but you may have given us too much of a good thing with your performative acting choices and silly little dances. Helena Bonham Carter. You showed us that sometimes a little can go a long way. Perhaps, though, your little hasn't gone far enough. Patti LuPone. Your balanced performance is simultaneously warming and chilling, but have you pulled your audience too quickly in both directions? 3 ladies go into the meat grinder, but only one can come out the best Mrs. Lovett, and that woman is... It's Patti LuPone. Of course it's Patti LuPone. Patti's performance almost reinvents the whole role. She's found this way to accentuate every little subtle shade in Mrs. Lovett's soul, and, well, I think that's what makes her Fleet Street's next top meat pie vendor, or something. Congratulations, Patti LuPone. Also, I'm sorry I used a bootleg of you. I know how much you hate cameras. And that's it. That's the Battle of the Mrs. Lovetts. Think I'm right? Think I'm wrong? Let me know down below. I'm sure some of you have already started. Please try not to swear. And, as always, if you've made it this far, a like and subscribe would just really help me out. I will see you next time.